Good afternoon and welcome to the weekly meeting of the greatest Rotary Club in the multiverse, where today we are celebrating National Moldy Cheese Day. With the birthday boy, Bob Rutherford, please come up and lead us in the invocation and pledge.
Thank you, President Pat. Please stand and join me in reflection on some inspirational thoughts for the day. We assemble weekly in this forum because of a common sense of commitment to make our neighborhood, our community, state, nation, and world a better place and more hopeful. Here then are some sage words of guidance for me to share. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Theodore Roosevelt. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. In proportion as one renders service, they become great. Booker T. Washington. Volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. When you volunteer, you vote about the kind of community you want to live in. There is no better compass than compassion, so says Amanda Gorman, but it's not enough to be compassionate. You must act, says the Dalai Lama. One sits in the shade today because someone else planted a tree long ago, Warren Buffett. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that never has, Margaret Mead. And finally, therefore, never underestimate the power of small changes, because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who actually do. Steve Jobs. Now, will all you crazy people please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, past President Bob. So, speaking of Bob Wiseman, would you please come up and introduce our visiting Rotarians, which I don't think we have any, as well as our guests. Thank you, Pat. Do we have any visiting Rotarians or guests? Yes. Can't hear? No. Can't hear me?
Well, Dr. Helen Anderson Cruz, wherever she is, was supposed to introduce her lovely daughter, Devin Roberts, who is a first-grade teacher and one of the most amazing teachers I've ever seen.
Good afternoon, President Pat, fellow Rotarians and guests. I have my better half, Peggy Duncan, here with me today, my wife.
Round of applause, please. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Boy, you got quiet. I'd like to introduce a special guest to the club, or my guest for this program, especially Neil Martin.
President Pat, fellow Rotarians and guests, I'd like to introduce a special guest that will be inducted soon, Julia Moore.
President Pat, fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce my special guest, Megan Keller, second visit, and I'm just so glad she's here.
Is this on?
Sure is.
Good afternoon, President Pat and fellow Rotarians. I would like to introduce my amazing husband, Billy Canu, and today is his induction day. So.
President Pat and fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce my guest, Marie Simon, former student, former school board president, currently PIA at CUSD, and she's mine.
President Pat, fellow Rotarians,
I have my lovely husband here with me because poor Sully is under the weather. We are fighting some stuff, so that's why I've been a little bit absent. But Dan is here, and I used to say that he was less expensive or more expensive than Sully, and he goes, lately, no, Sully wins that one. So.
President Pat, fellow Rotarians and guests, I'm very pleased to introduce my two special guests today who will also be inducted today, Nadia and Alec Bagin.
Anyone else? Excellent work. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have some red badges here today. The first thing I want to announce is that I have a pair of purple glasses up here that I've been wearing that don't belong to me because purple is not my color and I can't see out. So if you left a pair of purple glasses here last time we were here, come see me and I'll give them back to you. I'll clean them first. For 25 bucks. So we have some red badgers today, and so red badgers, I'm going to go in reverse order so that Shannon doesn't get this every time. And that is, let's start with Carol Young, and Carol, tell us your favorite outdoor activity.
It used to be pickleball. But I look at this later. So I'm trying to find the outdoor one right now. It could be golf.
Bob Weissman, I know the answer to this.
Well, President Pat, my favorite outdoor activity is playing golf with you. And, of course, my wife.
That's gotta be boring. Trying to find somebody you can beat. All right, let's see. Sarah Stillman. Sarah, are you here? There you are. Tell us your favorite outdoor activity.
Hi, everybody. I am very lucky that my favorite outdoor activity has pretty much anything that has to do with water, down whether it's kayaking, sailing, swimming, drawing a blank, but water. We'll go water. Thank you.
All right. Kathy McDonald.
Pickleball.
Julie Gallagher.
I love walking the path all the way from Dog Beach down to the guard shack at the shores and back.
Mark Fleming.
I won't say campaigning because that'll cost me $50.
$50 anyways.
Snow skiing.
Michelle.
I think, and you all hear me, I don't think I need a microphone. And I will share anything having to do with water, particularly water skiing.
Good. And Shannon.
I really like pickleball and going for walks and probably sitting outside and drinking.
Very good. Well, if any of you have those interests in common with our red badgers, seek them out and chat with them. And maybe you can play golf with Bob so he out the two people he can beat. All right, let's see here. A couple of announcements I want to get to, and that is a sad one. Is that our good friend Ron Vernetti is in the hospital having had some surgery. He's a sharp, not necessarily seeking visitors out, but keep Ron in the thoughts and prayers at this point in time. Number two, Christmas in October coming up. Can you hear me now? Is this better? Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Christmas in October is coming up. There's some flyers if you need some for your organization. Your RI president coming. If you want to do that, let me know. I'll connect with you. Dave Johnson's memorial service. We've emailed everybody. You do need to RSVP to let them know you're coming. A couple of new things that I need to bring up for you. As you know, we're going to go to Father Joe's on the 13th of November. Bob and Mary Griffin asked me to let you know they have 4 spots left to go that morning and serve breakfast if you're interested on November 13th. If so, contact Bob and they'll get you written down. And the last thing I want to let you know is that we are going to go do our first quarterly visit to our Limbs of Freedom site on the 13th of November. And there's room for 5 people in the car. It'll take you a Saturday. It's worthwhile to go down there and see what's going on. You don't have to put limbs on. You don't have to make limbs. You don't have to do anything other than watch and see what the world looks like in Ensenada, where they do this. It is very moving. It's very inspirational, and it'll give you some sense of why we put the money, which is a lot, into this program, because the benefit to people who haven't walked in 20 years or may have never walked, to suddenly be able to walk is a remarkable thing. November 16th, it's a Saturday, 5 spots, they'll leave early. It will be really helpful if you have a global entry card, because it'll make the day shorter. They leave by noon, and with a global entry card, you can be back, but you will miss the opportunity to buy a purple ceramic turtle coming back. And it is safe. The turtles, everything's safe. Yeah, it's very safe. You feel like you're in a Bodega. It's not that big of a deal. Let's see. Luann is going to take a group of Red Badgers next Wednesday or 2 weeks ago, the 24th, to fulfill the requirement for their Red Badge requirement to Club 33 over across the way. If you want to go, see her, because she has to get you registered. They really have a good program on a salute to the military that day. It's a good opportunity if you're a Red Badger to go and see what other clubs do and how they do what they do. I have, since today is National Moldy Cheese Day, I was tempted to give it to the table back in the corner back there, but I chose not to do that. I'm going to give it to somebody who can really use it, and that would only be somebody who who claims to be a master chef at cooking Spam. Now, John's not here today. He's gone visiting his grandkids, John Charles. But what the heck? It's moldy cheese. It's only going to get better for him over the next 2 weeks. Okay, inductions. Tom, would you come up and call the rest of our guests up for our inductions?
Chairman. I like this moldy cheese. It's pretty good out here. All right. Well, listen, this is a very special day. So President Pat, fellow Rotarians and guests, as we know, this is a really special induction. So real quickly, I want you to meet this Bagin. I got it right. Whoa! All right, they are from Ukraine. Okay, they've been in this country like 9 years. All right, they don't just become naturalized citizens of the United States. They are I'm really special to have them. So we have a couple. We have another couple. We have Billy, who's joining. Billy Canu. Shannon's his sponsor. So I'm going to ask Shannon to tell me what Billy's, and it's the same as you, classification is. Oh, he's got it. Venture capital investment. Venture capital investments. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you about Nadia. She's instructional design. That's like room classes and stuff. Yeah, okay. Online only, but yeah, okay. And then Alec is in business consulting, so they're both very talented people, and they're really terrific. So first, I want to say we welcome each of you to the best Rotary Club in the universe. It brought me back to who said that? Walt Heineke. I tell you what, he first started saying we were the best in the galaxy, but then Walt went big. It's the universe. And Walt was such a great guy. I don't want to get into that now, but he passed away in 2014. but he was a fabulous president. We sure miss him. And Meredith, of course, is a member here. We love her. So anyway, enough about that. So thank you for all you did for us. And now you guys are being linked, and we are international with Ukraine. So we ask you to help improve our world. Our club thanks each of you for your willingness to share the values of service and fellowship in Rotary. New members mean what? New ideas, good enthusiasm, great fellowship, and best of all, you will do service above self and become part of our people of action. So I want to ask each of you one simple question. What was your motivation to join? We have another mic here. I can use this one. We'll start with Nadia here. Or it doesn't matter either way. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, my motivation to join this club, the best club, Rotary club.
Indoctrinated her.
Yeah, I want to become more active participant in this beautiful community of Coronado, and I want to meet and network with like-minded people who put themselves, who put service above themselves. So, thank you.
For us as new people here in the country, we have really looked for the people who are in front, like before us, when before us we can learn from, and just to give that to the community. Thank you so much for inviting us, for meeting to join. Thank you.
Billy.
What they said. No, I also am excited about helping out for the future generations and being able to say President Pat and fellow Rotarians. So we're very excited.
Thank you. So it is with great pleasure and on behalf of our board of directors and all our members, we welcome you as the newest members of the greatest Rotary Club in the world, the Rotary Club of Coronado. Sponsors, how about giving them their pins, please? There you go. All right, let's stand up and give our new Rotarians a round and Rotary welcome.
You're bonded. You're bonded. Show
So you may notice when I started the meeting, I started as the greatest Rotary Club in the multiverse. And that's because I was doing some reading the other day about black holes and photons and dark matter, and the one thing I really understood, which was doesn't matter, and it talked about the multiverse. And so since apparently there's more than one universe, there obviously is probably more than one Coronado Rotary Club in different universes. But we're the best of all of them. Let's see, we had a picture, we had a Rotary meeting in Italy this past week. I don't know if you knew that or not. Mark, you just missed it when you were there, but Joe, could you put that picture up for us? It seems like a good chunk of our club just happened to be sitting in a bar in Italy. We'll find them for that, Did you all get your invite? Okay, there you go. Anyway, I think they're having a great time there. If you have pictures of yourself with other Rotarians, or you have pictures of yourself with Rotary markers from around the world, feel free to send them to us. We'd love to put them up there. We will find them. Everybody gets them. That's the way it works. Amy, could you come and give us a presentation about the Environmental Committee, please?
Thank you, President Pat, fellow Rotarians. Before I give you the report, I wanted everyone to know that once again, I have brought the dishes from the concert in the park. And would love for you to check them out. They're at the front desk. If they are yours, please take them home. If not, I'm going to auction them off next week if President Pat will allow me. But their committee to protect the environment was busy over on Saturday. They did a cleanup along the Strand, and led by Ivan Dunn, and special thanks to Helen Kupka for having everyone in her home afterwards. But we met at my house on Monday, and we really talked about what are the issues, what are the big environmental issues, and everyone unanimously said sewage. So we are going to take on sewage. Absolutely, we're one of those crazy people, we're going to change the world. So we have reached out to the district, and we are looking to involve district clubs and get their action, and we have all kinds of ideas on how to get everyone in our community involved. And so more on that later. Also, now I would like to go to slide 2, which is a couple events that are coming up. And the first one has to do with sewage. And this is Unite to Heal Our Coast. It is this Sunday, October 13th, from noon to 4 p.m. Please wear your Rotary gear so people know that you're there. Emerald Keepers is one of the planning groups, part of the planning on this, and I think you're going to find it to be a great day. The other thing that we have is the Grand Carib Planting Party. We have participated in this event for many years. It is on Saturday, October 19th, 9:30 to 1 p.m. And I have sent both of these flyers to Debbie McBride so she can put them in the quotator, so you'll have lots of information. You can sign up. Next slide. If you would like to join our really fun committee, I do make cookies on occasion. And so those of you who like Amy's cookies, Dan was saying, yes, come on over. We have some wine, we have fun, and we want you to join. So please join us. Our next meeting will be next month, and we're waiting to get the final word from the districts before we set that in motion and look forward to a future date. Finally, President Pat gave me special permission to celebrate a fellow club member and friend. And Kit Williams, you have to come up here. She has crossed the finish line. She is finished with her chemotherapy, all of her treatments. I'm so proud of you. Come up here. I have a very special medal for her. Across the finish line, we've got to celebrate with the sun. Congratulations.
All of you helped me cross this finish line. I want you to know that coming to these meetings meant everything to me. You gave me strength, you inspired me, and your love, I felt it every single day, and I give you a lot of credit for my crossing that finish line. So,
All right, and for the main event, Team Marine.
Well, it's my honor to introduce our moderator for our school board candidate forum. Today we have Dr. Helen Anderson-Cruz, who is a 2018 to 2022 member of the CUSD board. She has her PhD in education, and she is a professor at a school up the road that kind of rivals UCLA, USC. Anyhow, Dr. Helen Anderson-Cruz, would you like to introduce our candidates?
I'm going to hold it if you don't mind. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to see that we have such a great turnout for our forum today. Both of the seats, as you know, there are 2 seats. Both of the seats are available. We are fortunate to have all 4 candidates here today, and I'd personally like to thank each and one of you for joining us for this forum. Seated at the head table, from left to right. Bill Sankey. Please come up. Shawnee Barton Merriman. Renee Kavanaugh. And Fixley.
You're on your own.
Such a gentleman, Mr. Sankey. I'd like to very briefly go over the rules of engagement. The information was provided to the candidates ahead of time. The information that was provided to the candidates ahead of time was that they needed to be was that the order of presentation up here was made at random. The names were put into a container and drawn out, and that's why you have them seated as you do. Each of the candidates will have 4 identical questions, and each one of them receiving the same amount of time to respond to the questions. The first question was shared with each of the candidates, but the remaining 3 questions are new to them. The first question will be asked from the audience's left to right, and then we will switch up the order on the remaining questions. Of course, all manner of civility and decorum will be adhered to throughout the forum, and the candidates were asked to stay on topic when answering each of the questions. We have a timekeeper in front. So each person will be notified when they have 30 seconds remaining to finish their answer, and then a stop sign will be held when their time is up. So without further ado, I'd like to ask the first question. Mr. Sankey, you will begin. Please introduce yourself and describe the background, education, experience, service and skills that make you uniquely qualified to serve on the Coronado Unified School District Board of Trustees.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Skills, probably the thing that makes me most useful stepping into the role, should you guys be kind enough to elect me, would be my 8 years on the city council as a councilman. Many of you are familiar with my work there. I was steady, middle of the road guy, made solid decisions for our city that included, frankly, the decision to refund the bonds to get us to basic aid quicker. And that's one of the things that made me think about getting on this particular campaign. When I looked at the Tuesday before the Friday deadline, there was only one candidate, the incumbent Renee had filed, and I thought, you know, I've got the background, I've got the time, I'm going to run for this seat. And so I filed my papers on that Thursday, and then because the other incumbent had not filed, 2 more folks joined the race, which is very similar to my 2018 council race. My 2014 council race, where there were 2 candidates and another person came at the last minute. Made for a great campaign because we were able to have forums just like this one. I'm really glad you guys are here today. This is our last of 4, so hopefully everybody has a feeling for what we're all about. The remarks that began at the beginning of the meeting talked about volunteerism and stepping up for your community and not just acting but doing. And I think I have a 30 or 40 year history of doing in this community. Many of you have worked on committees with me. I shared a leadership position at this particular club in 2005 and 6, and I continue to stay deeply committed to my community. It takes courage to step up and do this. These 4 people know it. I was discussing earlier with a couple of the council candidates who are here about the courage and the difficulty to actually campaign in a community where things can get kind of, well, they call it the silly season, but actually, as somebody who ran as a council member with his heart on his sleeve, it's not quite so fun. And so I look forward to having the opportunity to share more with you, and I thank you for the opportunity to listen to me and the rest of the candidates.
Shawnee Barton Merriman.
Hello, my name is Shawnee Barton Merriman. I'm a mom of 4 Coronado Unified School District students. I'm also a professor at Cal State Long Beach. I studied art and business at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. I got my graduate degree from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I've spent my life serving kids, from my first job as a camp counselor, helping kids with chronic illnesses and physical disabilities until now. I've taught students age preschool to graduate school. My dedication to kids hasn't stopped with my jobs. I've kept volunteering at that camp. My husband and I hosted respite weekends for families who've gotten recent diagnoses before the pandemic, and they shut it down. I was a volunteer in the Rabies Oncology Children's Playroom. I volunteer at my kids' schools. I'm on the Village Elementary Site Committee. I also am helping with the hoedown that's coming up and other PTO events. My skills, I'm a creative problem solver. The superintendent charged all of us with coming up with revenue generating ideas, and I have some. I'm financially savvy. I've worked as a grant writer. I've done finance for nonprofits. Before I had kids, I was one of the top female poker players in the world. And that might not seem relevant, but in poker, you translate mathematics and financial variables into decision making, which is, I think, extremely relatable to this. I'm a lifelong learner. I recently completed my classes to become a certified financial planner. All kinds of things like risk-taking and employee benefit calculations that number nerds like me love. So I also want to say that I'm accessible and communicative. I'll answer parent emails, and I care about the people behind the numbers and the impact on the kids. So I know I'm qualified, willing, and able to do right by our kids in this community, and if the community votes for me to serve, I will step up and I'll truly give it my all.
Renee Kavanaugh.
Is it already on? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Rotarians. I will have to pay a fine tomorrow morning at Optimist Club for me being here. My name is Renee Kavanaugh. I am a retired teacher here in Coronado Unified School District. I was elected to the Board of Trustees in 2022 and was elected by my constituents there on the school board to be president the first year. I have my master's degree in human resource management, and within my first year of being on the school board, completed my governance training through the California School Board Association. As a teacher, I had a lot of leadership opportunities within the district. I piloted new curriculum for the district, was a member of school site council, and I was a master teacher for those new teachers who were entering the profession, was a mentor for them. I've had a lot of volunteer experience in the community. I've been president of the Coronado Schools Foundation for a couple of years, I think. I can't remember how many years I was. President of the Optimist Club, the member of the Coronado Junior Women's Club, president of that, the Coronado Women's Club. I'm the only board member, current board member, or future board member who has grandkids in the school district. So I have 3 grandchildren in the school district, and it's really important for me that they have a positive experience, that they love going to school. I am a positive collaborator. I will seek to find consensus with members of the board, and I take this job very seriously, and I look forward to serving you for 4 more years.
Julie.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. My name is Fitz Lee. I think the biggest quality I bring is proven, demonstrated leadership over the last almost 30 years now. And that's not just because I've been married to my wife for 30 years. My wife I got from France, and we've raised 3 boys here in the last 13 years. But 24 of those last 30 were spent in the United States Navy. I've had the opportunity to lead at all levels, to include commanding an F-18 squadron. I've served in the highest levels of government, working as a congressional fellow for Senator McCain, working on perhaps the largest and most screwed up budget that there is. I have also served a brief stint as Assistant Naval Attaché in Paris. I understand multiculturalism, I've lived it. All 3 of my boys have gone through these schools, they're all bilingual, we've raised them with French and English. Additionally, I have my master's degree actually in National Security and Strategic Studies, which includes a lot of Harvard business classes, which, to be honest, wasn't a huge fan of, but there were things to learn there. One of the things that I learned too is how to study and how important it is to know the details. Some of the things we're going to be talking today about cannot be answered very well in 2 minutes, but I'm happy to give you as much time as you want afterwards, especially when it comes to the budget. I understand how the California budget works and how that working impacts our potential funding here in the future. I'm working very closely with Donnie Salamanca, our deputy superintendent, who does budget and will be at every single budget committee, because that right now, folks, is our nearest threat. So again, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be up here with all three of these people. Echo Bill's comments. Being a newbie at this, and Shawnee as well, it is a tremendous amount of work, and I respect everyone up here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all those answers. With the second question, I will call on the candidates from right to left, starting with Fitz Lee, then Ms. Kavanaugh, Ms. Merriman, and Mr. Sankey. What do you consider to be the #1 and biggest challenge facing CUSD today, and how do you plan to address that challenge?
Okay, let's continue. The first one, the first issue is the budget. So the first thing I've already done and spent, maybe nearly 100 hours of looking at the analysis, reading the state's analysis of where they see us going financially, because there is a legislative analysis office that does this. The good news is their latest revision off the governor's May revision of his budget says instead of being 30 billion short, we're only 10 billion short. And that's actually, I don't say that tongue in cheek, it actually could help us. But I've done a lot of preparation. I've talked with Donnie on specific, I don't know what's causing that, issues, and I've also thought carefully about some of the things. I already started, again, what are some of the things that we're missing that maybe we could generate revenue from? One is taking advantage of the new average daily attendance numbers that we might be able to generate, because the state is being a little bit, it's relaxing its last stance on how many days you can miss school. Basically, you could do instant study programs, but they had to be over 5 days of absences, and those absences wouldn't count. Why is this important? Because that's how we get our money, by our average daily attendance. Now, with the state loosening those requirements, now we can work outside the box, take advantage of every loophole we get, and if we can raise our average daily attendance by just 1%, that'll generate about $300,000 of revenue between every year. Keep in mind, you'll hear that we're $300,000 in debt. That's true, or that's what we project for the third year out. However, that doesn't include the approximately $1.7 million reserve we're required to have. So it's a significant problem, and I think I have the tools and the leadership skills to help manage us through that.
Renee Kavanaugh.
I think you're going to get 4 answers all related to the budget here, because that seems to be one of the most important issue that's in the forefront of people's minds. There's lots of things that we need to talk about and address over the next few years when we reach basic aid. That's going to be enrollment. That's going to be coordinated mental health efforts and supports for our students. That's going to be rebuilding our reserves, because we have tapped everything out, so we're going to have to do that. We have facilities, deferred maintenance. So all of those things are related to money, and those are things that we're going to need to spend money on. I do believe that there are a couple of ways that we can possibly bridge that shortfall that we might experience in year 3 right before we reach basic aid. One is a strategic utilization of grants that we have. We've received 12 or 13 Department of Defense grants totaling over $12 million. So if there's a way that we can strategically align some of the items that are funded through the grants to help support not only the grant effort, but to supplement other programs that we have in the school, that would be helpful. Another is, again, attendance. We are funded based on butts and seats, not enrollment. So increasing attendance, having a campaign to increase attendance and encourage those higher attendance at schools will mean more money for us. The last thing is, at the end of the year, the district will need to look at personnel issues. Natural attrition happens. We will need to kind of right-size classrooms. So there are still some ways that are some efficiencies that we can take advantage of before we reach that basic aid status.
I believe our biggest challenge is planning for the future. There's a short term in that, and it's kind of a unique situation that voters have to realize that there's a very different set of issues in the short term versus the long term. In the short term, we have to solve some budget problems. Everyone up here, I believe, I know them, that they're qualified and capable of doing that. It's a bit of a shell game. When you make the budget, you do it without knowing how much money the state's going to give you. So you have to elect people who you align with your values and will make decisions that you will be in the best interest of kids. I, as a parent, I feel like I have an understanding of the students' and teachers' needs, and I know the faces behind the budget numbers. My kids feel the impact of the cuts. So I just want you all to know that that's something that I'll take very seriously. The other side to this coin is you need to elect someone who's visionary. We're going to have $10 million more per year, approximately, coming in 2027. So you need to elect someone who will have big, courageous, exciting ideas for what to do with that money. And exciting might mean, changing our facilities to accommodate climate change. It might be things like air conditioning and solar. It might be, we have a lot of students who leave the district because they can't get service for their dyslexic students. So it might be creating a learning center or a program to help kids with dyslexia. It might be prioritizing dual language. You really have to think about both sides of this coin. You need to elect someone who will make tough budget decisions and be a humanizing force while they're doing that. And you need to elect someone who is a visionary for the next stage of our district's life.
So each of the candidates to my left articulated the specific budget issues very, very well. I think we have a two-pronged worst-case problem to face within the next 3 years. The budget clearly is one. The County of Education has sent us a letter that our 3-year plan is deficient. It includes, as Fitz reminded us, a $300,000 deficit. You're not allowed to do that in planning. So there will be some creative thoughts put into figuring out how that 3-year plan looks. I've given some thought to that, and I've shared those thoughts at both the budget meetings and also with Donnie, who I can't say enough good things about. And that was one of the things that made me want to work with these guys. As I worked with Carl and I worked with Donnie to learn about the specifics as I got into this campaign. I know these people are sharp, and I know their communities will be well served by it. The schools are super important. So overlaying that budget problem, though, is a collective bargaining agreement with our teachers right now. The teachers are asking for money that the school district simply doesn't have. And figuring out a way to negotiate properly with them reminds me of the budget negotiations I did with the city several times during my tenure. And from what I understand, that there is some room to wiggle, so I'm hoping we can find that, reach that budget, keep our budget intact, and at the same time reach a solid collective bargaining agreement with the teachers who are so important to our school. Of course, that longer-term plan is getting to the basic aid, and I think Shawnee mentioned some air conditioning. I know Carl has some folks working on important infrastructure issues within the school that can be addressed. The school creatively leased out some space it wasn't using to the Navy, and then used that money to create a $12 million fund to fund immediate deferred maintenance. That took place several years ago. And so on the back of the Bridge to Basic Aid, which was a decision started in 2018, I look forward to being a partner with the other members of the board and the staff, along with the employees of the district, to making sure that we keep our Coronado schools a fantastic part of our community that they are. Thank you.
This has certainly been an informative discussion. For the third question, I will call on Shawnee first, Fitz second, Bill third, and Renee last. What is your understanding of the role and professional responsibilities of a school board trustee?
Well, I heard directly from you that the school board's job is to, you have one employee, and that is Carl, and managing that employee and then balancing, keeping the budget balanced and setting policy for the district. That is my understanding of the role of the board. I think that the board also has its own goals. This year, in that was published in the plan for student achievement, the board goals were learning, to integrate personalized learning and assessment, communication, communicate openly, freely, and accurately, and maintain and support supportive schools. So that is what it is. One of those areas I feel like that there's significant room for improvement, and I see a place where I can do that is communication. The seat that was open was when my family and other parents had some concerns, was the board member who communicated with us, who was willing to have a conversation. I, as a parent, worried when I saw that she wasn't running again of who would step up and have conversations, who would listen to the electorate, who would be accountable to them, and that's a mantle that I really want to carry forward. That's something that I want to do well. So, I know that I already am supporting the schools, and I want to continue to do that, and I want to continue, be a good board member. And then student achievement is really important to parents. That's when we're out talking to them, that's what they want more of. We do really well in our general population. There's, a little gauge. We're way over here with like typical learners, with special needs learners. We're more over here. So I think that's something that I saw and would like to focus on working on as a school board member.
First and foremost, we are a governing board. So that means we are responsible for approving the budget, curriculum, books. All of that cannot be done in just one meeting. Well, it can be, but the preparation to make sure that you are doing that right begins in every single day. It's not just a job where you can meet, like I said, for the one meeting a month. Not that I'm implying anyone's doing that, but it is in fact one that requires a lot of preparation, a lot of knowledge, because we are responsible, again, for approving a budget. It's a big deal. That's why when this last budget was approved, that raised raised the salaries of the two highest paid individuals in our district while we were still in deficit, I thought was not the best move. I didn't think that was an example of leadership, while our teachers get zero. Those are the things that have to be carefully considered and done. Also, additionally, curriculum, the textbooks, all of those things. We're not going to be able to do that in one meeting. It needs to be done every single day, and it's going to take a lot of time. And I will dedicate that time, I assure you, to make sure that when I'm voting yes, or maybe I'm voting no, I can tell you exactly why. And I will echo Shawnee's comments. Communication is key, and we need to continue to, we'll have to try to do that as best we can. I'm a huge believer in that, and I haven't figured out yet how I will do that in social media, other ways, because I haven't been on social media for so many years. I try to resist it. It's ruining our kids, but anyway, I will absolutely be figuring out ways that I communicate daily or let you all know what I'm thinking. So that's how I see the role of a board member. It's a governing board member, and leadership is important.
So when I joined the Planning Commission, the state of California, through the League of California Cities, sponsors a newly elected commissioner. And you go to this thing in Sacramento and you hear about what governance is. And most importantly, what governance isn't. The only two people that work for me as a city council member were the city manager and the city attorney. My role going into any other office at the city hall to ask a question needed to be an inquisitive one, and a short one, and a quick one. Our job as governing members of anybody, I'm speaking more broadly now, is to let the staff do their work and create policy and hold meetings to allow the public to comment and come up with decisions that sometimes aren't popular, frankly. We've talked a lot about financial issues. There's going to be some very difficult decisions that are going to require some courageous actions from the governing board. So as well as understanding our role, what we can and cannot do, it also puts us on the spot to decide collectively and collaboratively and working together what works best for our community. And that's not just the students in the school, because the schools are tremendously important to across the community, to property values, to how we're seen as a community. And so that role of being an ambassador falls under the school board as well. Communication was discussed. I think the decision to bring Maria Simon on as an information officer, created that position, made a big difference for how much information comes out, how organized it comes out, how it's presented in a very professional manner. And I think that as a school district is a good role. My ability to reach out to folks when I was a council member, get back to them and discuss questions with them or respond to their emails, I think was pretty solid. I'm sure you're going to hear a few grumpies, hey, you never got back to me, but to the extent that you can communicate to people in line and Vaughn's, as well as respond to their emails, that's the ambassador role that really falls upon us as well. So that's the way I would treat the job, same way as councilman.
There are two jobs to be a board of trustee. You have to have accountability and you provide oversight. So as a board member, we provide oversight with the district and making sure that contracts meet the requirements. We look at budgets. We are the line connecting you, the citizens, to our school district, holding our school district accountable. So if our school district has a plan to increase student test scores in one area, the board's job is to hold the district accountable and give them opportunities and guide them and direct them into ways that they can meet that goal. So we don't do the work. We are providing oversight and accountability to the staff and the superintendent who then do the work with the teachers. I think communication is very important, and as soon as I was elected on the board, I started having monthly open office hours, and those hours are posted on the district website. Sometimes they're at Silver Strand, sometimes they're at the district office. I've been at the high school before. I receive lots of emails from people that say, hey, I can't attend your open office hours. Can you meet me somewhere else at another time? Having that communication is really important, and being accessible is important. Another important factor that I think people may not understand is there's a confidentiality issue too. When you're dealing with personnel issues, there are a lot of things that you cannot talk about because there are personal issues. So it may seem as if there's no transparency, but there's a reason for that too.
Thank you for those informative answers. This is our final question for today. What would you identify as the best thing about Coronado Unified School District? We'll begin with Renee, go to Bill Sankey, Fitzley, and then Shawnee Burton. Aaron.
Our district has a lot to be proud of, and there are a lot of things that we do really well. I'm very proud of the partnership that we have with our military. All the DoDEA grants have supplemented the resources that we have that we need. They've been a wonderful partnership with that. The experiences that our military families bring to students in Coronado enriches us, enriches the classroom. We are a small district. We're a unified district, so we are K through high school. Some school districts are just high school or just elementary districts. So we're a small unified high school. Because of our size, we're able to pivot sometimes quicker and easier than others. So if we need to have more mental health supports and services, the size of our district allows us to address some of those needs quicker, I think, than some of the larger school districts are. Our school district also has wonderful partnerships with everyone in the community, all of the clubs. The Rotary, you support your Interact Club at the high school, which gives fabulous leadership opportunities for students. The Optimists have junior Optimist clubs, the Emerald Keepers clubs, which provide internships and opportunities for students to have real-world experiences. It's because of those kinds of relationships in our small town that make our school district really great.
Every child, every day. It's on the wall in the back of the school district office where the folks that meet in the dais see it on the back of the wall. And that's the approach this district takes. Every child, every day. Things start in the classroom, end in the classroom when it comes to education. That's hugely important. But the resources that are developed to help folks outside the classroom are something that I think a lot of other school districts can't offer. We offer that because of internal financial capabilities, and we also offer that through partnerships, not only with the city of Coronado through our crossing guards, the Schools Foundation Enrichment Programs. I spent 20 years hosting that telethon, taking it from $8,000 of contributions on an annual basis to 6 figures, and we had fun doing it, I'll tell you. How many people saw the telethon? Anybody remember that? And so when I think about our school district, I think about the part of the community that it is, and I mean community with a capital C. Stuff that makes Coronado, makes it better, because the involvement of folks, of you guys taking an interest in the schools, the the involvement of the service clubs that Renee Kavanaugh mentioned. And I think the role we play in the lives of these children that attend these public schools is hugely important. And so again, every child, every day is the thing that sets our district apart. No child who has a different interest, no child that has a different emotional need, no child that has educational learning difficulties gets left behind because our district cares. And as a board member, I would continue that tradition. Thank you.
Yeah, so the strongest attribute that we have in this community, I'm looking at a bunch of them right now. It's our people. And one thing that we can do to help improve on an already excellent school system is to leverage groups like yours. We have the Rotary Club, we have the Optimists, we've spoken of them, and you could become mentors to students. When we make our transition to basic aid, the other thing that we have going for us is the blessing of affluence. And how does that play into it? Well, all of our tax dollars, instead of just a few of them, will now go into the district, and Shawnee made reference to that. So we are blessed, and we need to be wise about how we spend that windfall as well. But the best thing about our community is our community. We're small, like Renee was saying, we can be nimble, and we can be personal. We can work with our students one-on-one. We can inspire each other. If you have a child who's played baseball, odds are I know him because I was coaching for the last 13 years. If you're involved in Young Life, I was on the board for 6 years. And these are all wonderful organizations that make Coronado truly special.
I think the best thing about our education here is the quality. We have really high educational standards. Our kids leave and go to the top tier schools if they want to do that. They have a lot of pathways to choose from. If they don't choose that route, they just even added more at the high school. My middle schooler has been an anchor on KCMS for 3 years in a row. She knows how to use Final Cut Pro. She knows how to do audio editing. She hosted the telethon 1 year too. So there's just so many options. I really feel like we're getting a quality of a private school education through a public school venue. So that's really special. The athletics, kids in San Diego don't get to play middle school sports. Ours do. Our nutrition. The kids there's a $388,000 surplus in our nutrition budget this year. Our kids are eating acai bowls. There's a robot cooking the food. I mean, what we have here is special. And I think every person up here running realizes that and wants to ensure that it continues.
Helen? We have enough time for 1 or 2 questions.
From the audience? If there's anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question, Jean Marie will come to you with a microphone.
Thanks a lot. It is.
There's one
Any
over
questions?
here.
I'll be great. Really great comments. Really appreciate all of you being here. The one thing that Shawnee touched upon, but I haven't heard enough about, is we do have really good academics for our students who are positioned to take AP courses, to strive. We are hurting for our students with special needs. Our students who are developmentally disabled, our students who are learning disabled, our children who need psychologists. We've let more of our psychologists go. What are you going to do to support both ends of our kids' educational experience and their needs?
1 minute per candidate.
I was first on the first one.
Go ahead.
Just to do the same thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have 2 members of the campaign folks here who have children in the IEP program who can speak specifically to the current state of affairs in the district. The good thing about this is that even though regular state money is available for education and is cut, the state programs that support kids who need extra help are robust, and we need to go after more of that money if in fact we've got programs that can do that. That money becomes dedicated to that program and will fulfill those needs. I think the partnership with Coronado Safe tremendously goes a long way to developing that relationship for the mental health and the suicide awareness, and the other folks that are helping us at that level are really making a difference. So those partnerships outside the school district are tremendously important. But I will be honest with you, I need to learn more about that, and I will, and that is a specifically important thing to you. Ms. Siegenthaler, I'll get back to you. Thank you. I think it's you.
This is something that's close to my heart. I have a student who is twice exceptional. He needs some help with social interactions and some things, but his Q is in the 98th percentile. We have plenty of resources to help him navigate the things that he needs therapy on. We don't have resources, a transparent path to the resources to sort of help him achieve what he can achieve with his incredible brain. I found through dogged determination that our district has teachers that are certified gifted and teaching gifted and talented students. That path probably should be more transparent. I understand why we got rid of our gifted and talented program, but I think that it's something that a lot of parents wish that we could sort of cultivate younger learners that have skills in a different way. So that's something that I would want to look into and learn more about. Stop. It does.
We have about 30% of our students who are military connected, and we have about a 30% turnover in students. So we have a high number of students who are moving in and out of the district all the time. So trying to address those gaps in learning that can occur because you came here from the East Coast and they study, in fourth grade, they study state or Revolutionary War history, and here we do it in a different grade level. So trying to address those gaps in education, one, is really important. Two, studies have shown that students who are proficient readers by third grade are 4 times more likely to graduate high school and to be successful in the career that they choose. So I'm a big proponent of really pushing and having reading success at an early age. I agree with you. I think that we need to coordinate our special education efforts a little bit more.
I'd be the other person who's lived through this experience, a lot of challenges. A very interesting article today in today's New York Times dealing with the fact that post-COVID, with all the shutdowns and everything that our kids have gone through, there's just a general rise in problems that we haven't seen before. Decreases in academic performance, increased psychological issues. My heart goes out because I went through it with one of my children. Like what Bill said, again, we have tough challenges. I don't know why we cut the counselors. I'm not saying that was bad or good. I don't know. I mean, on the face of it, I just don't know the data. But we're going to have to make some tough decisions, but we have to understand the light of the new environment that we live in. Special education requirements have been around forever, but now we've got more.
Anyone else?
Quick question. In regard to the school, how it operates, I think on a 4x4 schedule, is that what it's called? Do you have any comments on the success or negatives regarding that schedule? And the basis of why I ask is because when I hear that there's AP classes being taught in the first part of the year, and then the test, they finish and they're done, and then the testing takes place in the spring, it's something of concern for me, just because all 4 of my children have had big benefits from AP courses in their college. Thank you.
Yeah, another one teed up. When I went to did the school night this year, I hadn't, to be honest, I hadn't followed the 4x4 all that closely. Mostly because my child that was in at the time in high school was in the midst of COVID, and he lost his last 2 years anyway. However, it became glaringly apparent one of the weaknesses is that you're taking, like my son taking multiple AP courses. He's going to take AP World History right now, taking it now. Won't take the AP test until the spring, while he's taking 3 more AP tests. So that is definitely on the negative side. don't know what, at this point, I don't have any solutions, but I have a problem identified. So as an elected board member, I'll certainly look into that, but I'm sure it's a pretty complex issue.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean next? Okay. I agree with you. Whenever we had the 4x4 schedule, that was another issue that kept coming up. Students are going to take the courses in the fall. They can't test until the spring, but that's not our fault. That is College Board. So I wrote a letter to College Board. I encouraged my other trustees on the board to write a letter to College Board encouraging them to offer AP testing twice in the year, after the first semester and after the second semester. It's something they were able to do during COVID to allow students to take the AP test. They were able to rework their schedule, and my letter to them highly encouraged them because it's an equity issue. I think a lot of students would not take AP classes if they think, oh my gosh, I have to wait for a whole other semester to take it. So I think there would be a lot of students that would not want to take AP classes if they knew they had to wait that long. So my plea to College Board was to change their policy.
I had heard some concerns about the length of the class times in the 4x4 that they were increasing, and I just want to say that as a professor, I like longer class times. My class is 3 hours long, and I find that that really gives the students some time for in-depth learning and work. So that particular complaint wasn't relevant to me. Then another complaint that I've heard is with military kids moving in and kind of adjusting to such a different thing, like the course, when you come from a situation where there's year-long classes and then all of a sudden we have this 4x4, like that's a lot. So I think that's something that we need to, make a committee and work on with the military community to get that smoothed out, because it certainly should be as easy as possible for them. Other solutions that I think happen, things like band, where they were able to do that across the year. So, like most things, I think that the solution is not black or white, but will be best suited when it's gray in the middle. And I'm just going to go home and write the College Board upon Renee's recommendation.
First of all, kids taking AP classes is hugely important. I saved my parents a ton of money at UCLA. And John, you recognize one of the specifics that have been brought up to me by teachers about the 4x4, one of the difficulties with it. I think there's a significant number of pluses as well. And as a military person, I moved around. I was in Rhode Island for my freshman year, 2 years in the Fairfax County school system, and then here to Coronado for my graduation in 1982. And each of those districts had different formulas of how to teach, particularly the Fairfax County schools, where we had a 2-hour class that was a combination of English and history. We had a class for me as a sophomore that got me up to speed on the freshman, sophomore English curriculum that they used by a woman named Anne Openchain, if anybody is still scarred from their experience with Miss Anne. And so, yeah, the thing might need some work, and I think everybody up here has talked about being committed to do it, and I think the idea of having the College Board work more cooperatively with districts that work this way is really, really a good one.
That's going to be our last question. I want to thank the candidates very much for their informative responses, and with that, I'll turn it over to President Pat to bring it up.
Thank you, Thank you for moderating that for us. Thank you, candidates, for being here. We appreciate all of you, even if you are an optimist. You can always jump ship. We'd love to have you. Thank all of you for being here. Go out, be kind, and keep the people in Florida and North Carolina in your thoughts and prayers.